Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your second part of long division with polynomials notes for 9-6. We ended our last video with you were supposed to be writing down these steps here. So if you didn't, make sure you pause it and go back and write that down. All right, so we're going to start with step one. We're going to set up the box. So the divisor, that's this part here, is going to go on the outside, so x plus 5. And on the inside goes our dividend. That's this portion right here. X squared minus 3x minus 40. All right, so we now are looking at, I have this x, and I need to make it into x squared because our goal is to cancel that first term with every step. So what number do I need to multiply that by that x by, to make it x squared? I'm going to times it by an x. And it's going to go to both parts. So I get x squared plus 5x. Now the thing to keep in mind is when we do long division, we are subtracting our step here. And when we subtract, because we're subtracting a binomial, we are going to put that whole thing in parentheses. So x squared minus x squared cancels, and then negative 3x minus a positive 5x. So negative 3x minus 5x gives us a negative 8x. Then you're going to bring down your negative 40, just like we did in long division. Always bring down that next part. So now I look and I say, I have this x, and I need to make it into a negative 8x. So what am I going to multiply x by to make it negative 8x? I'm going to multiply by negative 8. Then I go ahead and I times it to both of those terms. So I get negative 8x, and 5 times negative 8 gives me a negative 40. Keep in mind, I'm going to put that in parentheses because I am subtracting. So negative 8x, oh my, negative 8x minus negative 8x. So minus negative turns to plus positive. Those are going to cancel. Negative 40 minus negative 40. Minus negative turns to plus positive. Those are going to cancel. So my solution is x minus 8. All right, so x squared minus 3x minus 40 divided by 5, or x plus 5, answer is x minus 8. All right, let's go ahead and try the next one. Don't forget, you guys can pause the video when you're writing. You can pause it, rewind it. Go ahead and do those things. This can be tricky. It's important sometimes to watch it 2 or 3 times just to make sure that you're following those steps and understanding what's going on. All right, so my divisor is on the outside, my dividend is on the inside, and we are going to look at this. I have x, and I need to make it into x squared so I can cancel. So I'm going to times by x. To both of those terms, I get x squared plus 1x. I'm going to throw those in parentheses because I'm subtracting that whole binomial. So the x squareds will cancel, and I have negative 9x minus 1x. So that gives me a negative 10x. It's really important sometimes for some of us to put that into parentheses just because it's easy to screw up on our signs there. All right, so then I look again and I have x and I want to make it into a negative 10x. So I'm going to multiply by negative 10 and it goes to both of these. So I get negative 10x and negative 10 times 1 gives me a negative 10. But I'm going to put this in parentheses and I'm subtracting. If I'm looking at this, I'm subtracting the exact same thing. So the negative 10x will cancel and the negative 10 will cancel. So I have a 0 denominator. So x minus 10 is my solution. Okay, those two are really nice. They're short, they're sweet. They end up with a perfect, beautiful answer and no remainder. So now we're going to look at what happens if we do get a remainder. So we're going to follow the same setup here. X minus 4 on the outside and x squared plus 3x minus 24 on the inside. So same steps. I have x. I need to be able to make it into x squared so I can cancel. So I times by x for both of those. So I get x squared minus 4x. That gets put in parentheses and I'm subtracting. X squared minus x squared cancels. 3x minus negative 4. Minus a negative turns into plus a positive. So this gives me a 7x. Bring down your 24. All right, I have x. I need to make it into 7x. So I'm going to say plus 7. Distribute it to both pieces. So 7x, this becomes minus 28. All right, so I put in parentheses because I'm subtracting. Now the 7x terms cancel. Your first term should always cancel. That's what your goal is when we're multiplying. But now I have negative 24 minus negative 28. Sometimes even writing it out on the side is helpful. And that's going to turn into a 4. Now we don't write R4, like for remainder 4. When we have a remainder, and it has to be just a whole number, it's positive, so I'm going to put a plus. And then you take your 4 and you put it over your divisor. So 4 divided by x minus 2. So this entire thing is our solution. So when we have a remainder, something that's a whole number, we put it over our divisor. Let's see how that happens again in this next problem. So same format, or different format for the same problem. We have a divisor, so that's the denominator, and we're dividend, that's our numerator. All right, so we ask ourselves, I have x, I need to make it x squared. So what am I going to times by? You got it, by x. So that gets distributed to both of those. And then we put it in parentheses because I'm subtracting. So my x squareds cancel, and then I have 3x minus 3. Ooh, 3x minus 3x, those cancel too. So now I just have a 12 down here. And so actually that 12 is our remainder because that's a 0 and this is a 0. So we put plus 12 over x plus 3. And there's our solution. I highly suggest you pause and rewind if you have questions or concerns on either of those. All right, last two problems here. Now we see that these two problems are a little bit different. They are not starting with x squared, or I mean x in our denominator. So we have a 2x minus 1. So 2x squared plus 3x minus 5. All right, but we're going to still do it the same way. I have 2x and I need to make it 2x squared. So I'm going to times by an x. It gets multiplied to both terms. So we have 2x squared minus 1x. So just like we've done the other two problems, put that in parentheses to subtract. 2x squared minus 2x squared cancels. A 3x minus negative 1x turns into a 4x. Okay, so 3 minus negative 1. Bring down our minus 5. Again, same philosophy we've been looking at. I have a 2x. I need to make it a 4x. What do I need to times by? I need to times by a 2. So that goes to both of those terms. So we have 4x minus 2. Then you're going to go ahead and put that into parentheses and subtract. My 4x's will cancel. And then I have negative 5 minus negative 2. Minus a negative turns to plus a positive. And we have negative 3 here. It's a whole number, so that's my remainder. So minus 3 over 2x minus 1. So notice I have that minus here in front of that because it was a negative 3. All right, so let's look at this last one. It says our 2n minus 3. Now in my my division sign, I have 4n cubed. Oh, cubed. We haven't dealt with something that high, and that's okay. We just need to remember that we're probably not just going to multiply by an x or an n. But I do notice that it goes straight from 4n cubed down to 5n, so I'm missing an n squared term. So you need to put a placeholder in if you have any variables missing. If we don't put a placeholder in, when we go to subtract down, we aren't going to have like terms, and it's not going to work out for us. All right, so I have my placeholder in. So now I have 2n, and I need to make it into a 4n cubed. So what do I need to multiply 2 by to get 4? 2. What do I need to multiply n by to get n cubed? N squared. So it's going to go to both of those. So we get 4n cubed, and then 2 times that negative 3, negative 6n squared. See how we ended up with our n squared term lining up underneath our n squared term? That's why we have to put that placeholder in. All right, so it's a minus. My first two terms are going to cancel, and I have 0 minus negative 6. 0 minus negative 6. So plus positive, this turns into a positive 6n squared. Bring down our plus 5n. All right, I have 2n, and I need to make it into 6n squared. So 2 times what gives me 6? 3. And n times what gives me n squared? N. So that gets times by both of these. So we get 6n squared. Negative 3 times positive 3 turns into a negative 9. All right, I'm going to put that in parentheses because I'm subtracting. My n squared terms cancel. And now I have 5 minus negative 9. So that turns to plus positive. So then I'm going to end up with a 14n. And I'm going to bring down my 20 minus 21. Okay, so then I look at this again and I say, hey, I have 2n and I need to make it into a 14n. Well, what do I need to multiply 2 by to make 14? And that's a 7. And I don't need a variable this time because I just have an n there. So it gets times by both of those. So I end up with 14n, and negative 3 times 7 is me a negative 21. Ooh, hey, look at that. When I subtract them, and I'm running out of space, I get 0 for my remainder. So this is my solution there. All right, and that's it for our notes problems here. Please go ahead and rewind, rewatch, pause, ask questions. Let me know what you got. Thanks, guys.